Hey everyone, it's your boy FreshFanBert94 here. Now we're going to be talking about how things had happened between the times in 2022. I'm going to talk about the most interesting things that happened in 2022, and we're going to be talking about the albums and EPs, and also some drama that happened over the year 2022. And yeah, we're going to be talking about some crazy fucking shit that happens, and I want to say it's Merry late Christmas, happy holidays, and get ready for the new year. I mean, we're gonna talk about a lot of shit that have been going on for now. I mean, we're gonna talk about the games and stuff and many more. As long as I'm still alive and I haven't been on and off lately on this video or this channel since I have been busy in life. I got a lot of stuff to take care of, like college, university, and stuff like that. Anyways, now we're gonna be talking about some of the interesting metal albums that had hit the floor this night. Was death metal album The Bonginator by Eric Forsting and its album EP called Doink City Massacre, or 1986 Doink City Massacre. This album is like straight up in your face. It's like the style is like a mixture between Cannabis Corpse with Corpse Grinder, or in this case 6 Feet Under with the George Fisher himself instead of Chris Barnes in the alternate universe. Like, it's just basically Mr. Corpse Grinder himself just smoking all that weed and saying, "Save the world by smoking weed." Like, holy fuck. A lot of people fucking hate this one because they say it's like fucking Rick and Morty in death metal, and it pisses off some purists, like especially little bitch asses like Chris fucking Barnes, man. Like, that one was a fucking kicker. And I've been looking for it on this new single coming up this year in 2023 called Chopped to Pieces. It's a new single taking place soon, especially during the little tour. I'm happy to look forward to it and maybe give it a shot to it. Let's find out. And I want to give it a shout out to Mr. Forsting of The Bonginator. Good fucking shit. Nocturnal Sickness by Cryptic Hatred from Sweden. Man, that album, when I heard about that album, like, fuck, man. When I give it a shot about it, it's basically Chris Barnes' Cannibal Corpse without any screaming letter E's in any of that album. Like, we're talking straight up, fast, aggressive, much better than Chris Barnes' Cannibal Corpse era, but without the fucking egotistical, manic deprived of Chris Barnes' rantings and stuff. Like, I got fucking tired of Chris Barnes. Like, I don't like the dude, but I still respect him as one of the founders of the death metal scenes. And there's one thing he still boggles my fucking mind, was the fact that he can't even comprehend the fact that the death metal scene has been much more better with or without Chris Barnes himself. Like, I never liked the dude, even though I had my moments of dunking the fuck out of him by by giving him a deep fake image of him as Captain Jack Sparrow in the upcoming Pirates of the Caribbean reboot. And even I decided to tag Disney, and all of a sudden he blocked me like very fucking quickly, man. Like, holy fuck. Man, I'm a fucking madman for this shit. Like, holy fuck. Druid Lord, when it comes to my attention about that one, that style was like when you mix Chuck Schuldiner Death with Black Sabbath style, it gets much more doomy but more pissed off. Like, holy fuck. That style was much more of a madman's creation, what you can put in. Like, in my honest opinion, that one was the best albums on the 2022 list for death metal. Yeah, it was a pretty good one. Like, that shit was like fucking awesome. Like, I'm not gonna lie, because I love doomy and death metal combined. Like, you got the little Scream Bloody Sabbath or some shit. Like, that's the kind of vibe I've been looking into. Like, a death metal band that's so doomy, it's like you got Black Sabbath kicking up the notch or fucking them in the ass. Like, wow. Druid Lord is a fucking bomber, man. Like, you gotta check that shit out. Half. All That Was Promised. That album, well, when I was browsing around on Bandcamp the other time, and when I come across this one, man, when I looked at the picture of the album cover, it looked like a death metal equivalent to The South of Heaven, because you got like a fucking skull and it's a little terraforming of body horror type, like a landscape that looked like something out of a Doom video game or something. And when I gave it a listen to it, the mixture style was like a mixture between progressive death metal and black metal and death metal itself. Like, holy fuck, it's a fucking kicker, man. Like, I've started to enjoy that one, and even I got the patch version of it as well from Pull the Plug Patches, and that shit is like fucking fun, man. Like, I love death metal, even though I don't give a shit if it's progressive death, blackened death, death thrash, or whatever. Astrotomb, or better known as String Bring Nebula. Astrotomb has been a new generation of Colorado death metal bands that you see. Like, to start it off in this generation of Colorado death metal scenes was none other than the popular band called Blood Incantation. How the Astrotomb became well known for was its split album, The Chasms of Eon, with Cryptic Shift and many other bands, until their album Soul Gazer came into full play right after their 2021 EP, Degradation of Human Consciousness. I haven't checked that one, but when I gave it a shot with Soul Gazers by Astrotomb, Transcending Visions was one of those little trippier parts. Like, it gets super long with the death metal riffing. It's like gave me a little bit more like a Blood Incantation vibes. And don't get me a little bit started with the Blood Incantation vibes. And it's a mixture between ambient and death metal. Like, it goes like a back and forth. Like, some people fucking hated it and some people enjoyed it. Like, that album, Soul Gazer by Astrotomb, was like a fucking bipolar bomb, metaphorically speaking. Because it's like you're calmed down for once a little while with these synthy ambient type tunes, and then all of a sudden, bam, it goes real fucking fast without knowing. Like you're traveling through speed of light in the style as like a pure fucking Event Horizon type. That's the vibe I've been getting with that album. Again, I loved it. This one was a kicker. Undev's newer album, It's Time to Rise from the Grave. This one was an interesting album from none other than Undev after their 2-year break from their first album, Lesions of a Different Kind. What I get with this one, it's basically, you got the modern equivalents to first era, but much better and more angrier, much more graphical detail compared to Chris Barnes' early works in Cannibal Corpse before his departure. That one, since I have been enjoying NY death metal scenes lately, ever since newer albums have been coming in, like, that shit was a fucking kicker, and this one was a never bit of a disappoint. It was not that much of a disappointing, but it was much more flavorful and more kicking, and it's like in your face. Like it does a lot of better stuff. Since I've been listening to bands that gave off the vibes of death, Cannibal Corpse, Massacre, like wow. It's called Fear Sick by Inhuman Condition. Yeah, that album was one of those pretty interesting ones, and it never disappoints me compared to the first album, Rat God. Since Inhuman Condition, for those who don't know who they are, it features most of the known band members. Member Terry Butler, and also some live musicians in collaboration with none other than Rick Ross, even though he's not in the Inhuman Condition. Since Rick Ross made his appearance on guitar solo for the second on track 6 of Rat God himself. But it's pretty nice to see Rick Ross of a former member of Death from the Leprosy era, along with Terry Butler from the same band Death, but now under together as a supergroup dedication to Chuck Schuldiner, Left to Die. Well, I will mention the band name Left to Die on the concert shows, since yeah, I'll mention it in the later part. Be ready, because I'll tell you based on my personal experience. And like I said again, Fear Sick, it never disappoints me. The album is still kick-ass, and the cover was like fucking Leprosy, man. Like, it's just basically Leprosy but expansion universe, because it has the color, the scenery, and the yeah. That's the only thing I could tell you. It's just basically Leprosy Part 3, the expansion universe, compared to Gruesome's dedication to Chuck Schuldiner, Savage Lands, aka Leprosy Part 2. Now we're gonna call it the Death Trilogy, Leprosy. In my honest opinion, is there gonna be the renaissance of the death metal for 2023 after 2022? I mean, who fucking knows? Like, who knows? I forgot to mention one other thing about Fear Sick was I managed to snag this copy called Covers EP. This is basically a separate album right after the release of Fear Sick by Inhuman Condition. It features some of the covers, like you got Whiplash by Metallica, you got Executioner's Tax by Power Trip, Magnificat by Benediction, Surprise You're Dead by Faith No More, and one of my all-time favorites from this EP is Pull the Plug by Death, covered by none other than Inhuman Condition. Like, and I wish I could make up shit that this is the official bootleg. Yes, this is the official bootleg from the, what was it? From the band itself. Like, it's kind of funny they went a little bit independent and creative by doing a little bootlegs in a cheaper manner. Like, I fucking love it. Like majority of the bands like don't give a shit about bootleg albums, even though they've been donated by hardcore fans. Like who gives a shit if they're bootlegs like these? This is just like a little personal collector's item, since I got this on Bandcamp. Like, man, this motherfucker never disappoints me. The last track I mentioned, Pull the Plug, fuck, man, that shit's fucking better. Anyways, now with death metal out of the way, now we're gonna be talking about some thrash metal stuff I've been listening to for a little while or two throughout 2022. I'm trying to be more just like the Shane of Boy Frashman. For those who are not familiar, I want to give it a nice little shout out to him. Hey, if you're watching this, what's up? And also, number one, we're going to be talking about this one called Seizure, a fantasy themed thrash metal band that sounds like a borderline of power metal but more fantasy leaning, and its album Forbidden Tales. When I discovered the band Seizure, it was a bit interesting at first when I found out this single track that hit the internet called Potion Seller. Man, if you don't know what Potion Seller is, it's basically a song that is inspired by a meme called "Hello Potion Seller, I'm going to battle. I need your strongest potions," and then the lyrics said, "I brew potions that aren't fit for you. I have no respect for knights. Listen, you don't know what you asked." It's basically the lyrics itself was basically inspired by the meme, which that was been put into a fantasy theme about a group of knights just trying to act like a bunch of stupid idiots trying to use potions to get more stronger, to seek back for more victory and glory, until one of the knights had fucked up by drinking the potion, and the potion seller says, "I have no respect for knights." Like, it's a story that kind of fits the concept. That one was like a fucking 10 out of 10 of this album. If you're fans of early Megadeth with more melodic and more aggressive and more fantasy theme, Seizure is the right thing for you. And I highly suggest go check out that album. What was it again? Forbidden Tales. That shit is fucking awesome. Go check that shit out right now. Witch Slayer, it features some of the former members of the band called Trouble, a doom metal band from California, I think. I mean Chicago. Witch Slayer is basically, if you're fans of early Black Sabbath, Megadeth's era of Killing Is My Business, but much more doomier, Witch Slayer is right for you with their self-titled album, Witch Slayer itself, which was released on June of 2022. Even though their demo album was in 1983, which it took about like over 40 years to release the album. It's been like, how you call it, 3 decades too late, but they managed to update it, but much more better for sound quality. Like, alright, that's just fair enough. Witch Slayer, good album, more thrashy and more doomier for fans of Black Sabbath, Megadeth, into one package. That's your go-to. That's number 2. Number 3 is Electric Warfare by Death Hammer. By Death Hammer, I discovered that band from none other than a friend of mine, Deshane, aka Pizza Boy Frashman. The style was much more like a Black and Thrash and Speed from Norway. Since compared to the previous album from 2018 called Chained to Hell, which that was a pretty good album, and when Electric Warfare came out, I was very shocked that this album was much more pure badass, like ass kicking style. Like, wow, that shit is much more of a kicker, and I can assure you that this is the good shit, and Death Hammer has never been a disappointment at this time of era. Now let's go on to number 4. Pillaging Villagers and its self-title. Pillaging Villagers is a thrash metal with folk punk influences from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and it's a one-man thrash metal band under Fraser, who does everything with his own instruments and stuff, and most of the lyrical themes is peasant rebellion, medieval battles, and stuff like that. when I listened to it, it was just a mixture between Irish folk, thrash metal, folk, and crossover thrash into one package. It's like you're playing Dungeons and Dragons while fantasy thrash metal theme starts blasting so fucking hard, but this one was much more folk that you're fighting in the forest with a bunch of little whatever comes at you, like fucking gnolls, bunch of hung axe wielding motherfucking minotaurs, or whatever the motherfuckers that come at you from the dungeon master. Again, Pillaging Villagers, good album. It didn't disappoint me. And I mean, what do you call it? Folk thrash. Because it's thrash metal with folk. It doesn't end there. Chemicide, Common Sense. Common Sense by Chemicide, it's a pretty nice album, but what caught my attention was the writing style was much more like the font. What catches my attention was the Slayer style font in question, which it makes me want to take a look at it, and it's from Costa Rica, I think. And yeah, it's Costa Rica. And the style of the album artwork was more like Think This, but part 2, the Electric Boogaloo. Because when I was listening to it, it's a pretty interesting one. And this is for fans of Sodom, Violator, Creator, Sepultura, well, early Sepultura, Lost Society. That shit's right for you. You may want to check that one out and support the artist as well. As long as you get the job done. When it's fresh, it's gonna be fun and energetic. I'm not gonna care if it's with the old school members who have a different band name, or I don't fucking care, it's Pizza Fresh, or like, shut the fuck up, man. Let me enjoy the good shit. Now let's move on. The last one of them all is The Troops of Doom. Yes. No, I'm not saying this is a Sepultura cover band. This is the official Sepultura inspired band that is run by none other than Jaro Tormento Goods. Jaro Tormento Goods is a former member from Sepultura. While he left with Sepultura, he joined with Calavera Conspiracy back in 2012 to perform The Troops of Doom, and he joined back again in 2014 to perform Necromancer, just to collaborate under the Calavera Conspiracy. It's pretty nice to see one of the former members of Sepultura made his own little band inspired by the previous band, Sepultura, but with a different name, The Troops of Doom. And then their new album, Antichrist Reborn, their album, man, it's fucking crazy. Like, it goes pretty fast, aggressive. It's like Morbid Visions and Bestial Devastation Part 2, the Electric Boogaloo. Like, holy fuck, man. That shit's like fucking insane. Like, you gotta love the good fucking shit when it comes to a comeback and callback to fans. Like, if you're still mad at Max Calavera about leaving Sepultura, and then still mad about Soulfly, but you want to find something much better but more improved, and stick with the old sounding but higher quality, then that's The Troops of Doom for you. I was listening to the modern cover version of The Troops of Doom by under their EP album, The Rise of Heresy. And man, that shit's like fucking insane. Like, I highly recommend this one, because if you love Sepultura but still pissed off about Max leaving, you better check that shit out. I mean, you're gonna love that one. Trust me. Okay, now this is Fresh Friend Bert 1994 or Fresh Friend Bert 94. this is the end of part 1 for now, since I'm gonna be making part 2 after this one. And don't think I'm gonna be coming back with the same old intro, but I'm gonna make another intro for 2023. Stick around, have a good day, drink water, Happy New Year, and keep your pets inside the house so firecrackers will be giving them like fucking PTSD and shit. Alright then, have a good day.